I'm Coach Mikki, and I'm so glad that you've joined us. And if this is your first time joining us, come on in and make yourself comfortable. For those of you that join us on a regular basis, we are so glad that you do. And thank you so much for all your support and reaching out to our community and people that are here on our podcast and also part of our Keep on Sharing community. And I'd like to thank Keep on Sharing for being our sponsor of each and every one of these episodes and gives us an opportunity to showcase all of our great community members because they've got so much to offer regardless of what you're looking for. There are so many. And again, today is going to be so much fun because I really have been interested in this also, not only as a CEO and a business owner and things that I do, but just I've always had these questions in regards to, okay, now I've got this business. What do I do, especially when I need funding? So I'm really excited to have with me today Jerrod Smith. He's with LoneStar Valor Funding, and he's also an Army veteran. So I want to first of all thank you so much for your service. That is something I highly respect for anybody that serves our country. So first, I want to thank you for that, and now I just want to jump right in and hear about what you have to offer and how you can help other businesses.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. And so my goal is to help fund uh, dreams for businesses. I think a lot of businesses need funding at one point of of their business, and so that's my goal is to help get the right funding for them and find the right lender for them. We try to really tailor it around there. And the other thing that we try to do is we don't like to ghost you. If you're not able to get funding or you're having trouble getting funding or you're interested in getting funding but you don't know where to start, we try to help you with that side as well with business credit, learning how to build it and everything. Because I know with me when I first got, or I know I've been denied a loan. I don't know about you, Coach Mikki, but it's frustrating when they ghost you, because you never know why you didn't get approved. What what can you do to fix it? And so that can be really frustrating as a business owner, as a person, because you don't know how to improve yourself. And so that's my goal is that if you're not even able to get funding or you're having issues, let's try to figure out a way to fix it. And so that's what I'm here for.
Well, let me ask you this right from the beginning. And yes, I know from the business, especially starting with many of the businesses, you get these things. They'll say, "Oh yeah, we give grants or we give funding." Whether especially for me, what I've run into is I've tried to get funding as a female business owner, and they have to say, "Oh yeah, we'll fund you." And I've seen people that have gotten funded that have put an idea on a napkin, and here I've got this full-on pitch deck, information, and everything you possibly could imagine, plus already preceded a little bit more than a preceded business and still get no as a reasoning and you're just like, okay, well, why? And it's not so much also the funding, it's also investors and other things. So but with the funding, what would you say is the most important thing that people should have right from the beginning prior to going out and seeking funding that can make it easier for them to get a loan?
I mean, that's a great question. There's a lot of things. I think the most important thing is going out there and establishing your business credit. Even if you don't know how to grow it or that. I think there's a misconception that, I've got my EIN number, it's like my social security number, my business credit's already going. And that's not the case. You have to go with and register. And it's not the same format that our personal credit is. The three bureaus is Experian, Equifax, and then Dun and Bradstreet. So TransUnion is not a part of business credit, and you have to register with all three of them, and they're free. But a lot of businesses don't know that do that, and they don't, so they're not setting themselves up for success when it comes down the line.
That's interesting because I did not know that TransUnion did not even take that into consideration. And a lot of times, as a sole proprietor, and which many businesses are, especially if they're just starting out and they haven't filed an LLC or a C corp. So as an individual or sole proprietor, you may have a really good credit score with Experian or Equifax, or let's say your credit is really good with TransUnion, but it's kind of a little bit lower on the other two. That's not even gonna that's gonna you need that other one. Would you say Dun and Bradstreet?
Yeah, Dun and Bradstreet.
So you'd have to file with them and be able to have that. Now, does Dun and Bradstreet offer the same type of credit rating as Experian Equifax, or are you going to find a whole different element with that because now it's a company?
So it's actually a whole different element. I apologize about the barking. Hopefully you don't hear that. Um, but it's a whole different element because instead of doing I believe to be honest, I'm not really sure what the lowest end is, and hopefully I never find that out as far as personal credit is, but it's around like 330, I think, up to the 850, where business credit is 0 to 100. It doesn't use the same score, and that's for both Experian, Equifax, and Dun and Bradstreet. So when they're looking at business credit scores, it's 0 to 100, not the traditional personal 8 to 300.
So how do you accomplish that? Okay, so if, let's say I've got a credit of 750, 750, 800. My credits are, really well as an individual, but now I started this company. Do they take your personal credit into consideration, or are they looking at the business based on your income and your profit, your P&Ls, your profit and loss statements?
So that's so this is where financing gets really, really confusing because there's so much intricacy to it. So they do absolutely look at your personal credit, especially when you're starting out, because a lot of times your business isn't in that revenue phase, or you're not making that much revenue. And so usually in that startup phase, I always say go and establish your business credit first, and then get a business credit card, and then try to fund it. Now, most of the time when you apply for your business credit card, you're using your personal credit on the same time. But with that, it doesn't affect your personal credit. So, um, with business credit cards or anything business related, even if you use your personal, they only do soft pulls on your personal, so you don't have to worry about the hard inquiries, which allows you to do a little bit more shopping, to try to find the best rate. And then the other thing it does is it doesn't report on your personal credit unless you do something negative. So that means that you can max your credit card out, and it's not going to report on your personal credit card or on your personal report. And that's important because as you, in your personal credit, that magic number on your credit cards is 30%, right? So we don't want to go above that 30%. And if you're using your personal credit cards to finance that business, well, guess what? 90% of the business owners are doing that as starting up, and they're maxing out their credit cards. And then what happens is that their personal credit takes a hit, because then they're past that 30%. And so now their credit score goes lower because of that.
And that makes a lot of sense. Now, with business, when you do a business type of credit, and like you said, so you don't you get that hard pull on your individual. So when you fill this out, like a lot of times people use their social security number as a sole proprietor prior to paying for an LLC, because an LLC, especially when you start out with just a little bit of funding for your business, an LLC may come later or C corp may come later. So if you're using your own social security number for your business, how do you separate the two as your business and you as an individual if you're using the same number? Or is it advantageous to go and get an LLC first and then be able to do it? So if you're going to, as you're doing your business, like start right off the bat.
So what I think is most important is getting an EIN number, and using your EIN number. And an EIN number is free. It doesn't cost anybody anything. And so as a sole proprietor, it won't give them any issues either. So all they have to do is go in there, and they'll use their social security number to register that EIN. But that's the key is getting your EIN, because the EIN will act as your as business social security number.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, so let's say now you've got your EIN, you're doing really good. You filed with all three credit unions that you need to do for as a business. What's the next step to help to get to the funding to where you can, I mean, I know you kind of take everybody and help them all the way through this process, but what's the next step after that?
Now you're trying to steal all my secrets. No, I'm just kidding. But But no, so the next thing is getting like again that business credit card, and those net 30s is what we call those, and basically those are like revolving credit lines, basically with companies like Office Depot, and that where you as a business are going to shop there, use their supplies, get products from there, but you have to pay it all off within 30 days. And so that's why they call it a net 30. There's also net 60s and net 90s. But net 60s and 90s are a little bit harder. They're a little bit more strained on revenue and what you're doing. So as a startup, it's a little easier to get net 30s. And they're a little bit more lenient on you.
So now I know you offer funding, you said at any point in time of a business. So why don't you share a little bit about that on who you can help and how you can help them, get the funding that they need for where they're at.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. So we have a wide list of lenders, and so I can really help anybody in any industry. And the reason why I say that is because not all lenders are equal, and that meaning that not all lenders are going to take the same industry. So I have certain lenders that don't like, say, healthcare industry. I have other that will only do trucking industry. And so that's why it's critical for me to really understand the business. And kind of what their goal is for funding because, are they looking for a line of credit? Are they looking for a term loan? Are they, are invoice factoring? What kind of loan are they looking for? What would best suit them? And then for me, it's all about getting you funded. So if I don't have that right lender, I'm going to go out there and search for that lender. One of the things that was brought up to me the other day was trying to get clients financed for like coaches and that. And so I was able to connect with two lenders that offer coaches the option to offer financing for their products. And so I didn't have that at the time, and I went out and researched it, was able to find it, and connect with them and figure out which was the best way, and create a partnership. And so that's what I do. I try to find that resource that's really going to fit into their business.
And I really respect the fact that you did that because I do know from a lot of people that I work with, and even for myself, I'm a service-based industry, whether it's, it's some of the things I've done in the past or even as a coach. And I've even had companies where it's been all service from working with kids and going out and getting a loan or lending or even just help through my business because I don't have something tangible always seemed to be the biggest challenge I had. So there's lending. So what I'm hearing you say is you can find lending, whether it's a service or you have a tangible product or, and now for anywhere from starting out to somebody who's already been in business for quite a while, you can find all those different levels of funding that they may need depending on where they are in their business at the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I will say startups are a little bit harder, and what I can get access to, because a lot of these lenders they do want to see some type of revenue, and then I do also have like certain lenders that if you're making say $10,000 a month, then they don't even care what your credit score is. And so even if with those people that have kind of that bad credit score or that we're kind of able to circumvent that depending on what their business is doing. So yeah, absolutely can help anybody from A to B. And so I just always like to stress with startups, it's a little bit harder. Most of the time, we kind of have to start with like credit cards or that to make sure that we can get them built. So may not always get that, 200,000 or the $1 million that they're looking for straight up the bat.
Yeah, but I love the fact that your company does that. What you do is you take and look at the whole situation, where they're at, what they need, and then you kind of piece it together, individualize it to what they're needing, and then help them fill in the blanks wherever there might be a void to be able to keep them from getting that funding. So that's really pretty amazing that your company does that. You'll start from, square one and take them all the way through and then give them the steps to be able to get there. What do you think is one of the biggest challenges that you can take care of or help with companies, that are just, oh my gosh, I'm starting out, I don't know what to do. What seems to be the most common denominator that people come to you with?
I mean, just really, honestly, the lack of business credit, and the knowledge of business credit. And that the other thing with that is where the information is. Because a lot of the information's out there, but it's over here and it's over here, and so you can kind of find this info here, and you can kind of find it over here, and so um, it's hard. It's hard if you're trying to really do it yourself, and I think that's the biggest issues.
What do you think some of the biggest mistakes people make in regards to trying to get in funding? That maybe they could look at now and go, oh, I don't want to do that because it's going to hurt me in the long run.
Oh, I'm glad you asked that one. I love this question. So I think it's interweaving your personal finances with your business finances. There's a lot of small businesses, including like sole proprietorship or small LLCs, that just feel the need that they can intertwine that, and it makes things so messy and so hard for many different reasons. But for funding, it's hard because it's hard to distinguish what is what.
So you would say the first thing people should do is make sure that they keep their accounts completely separate. Money that's used for business should only be used for business. Keep your personal stuff out of it. Now, let me ask you this. What about somebody who works out of their home? Because I know based on taxes and stuff, you're using your home as a base, and there's a certain element of that. So how do you, and maybe this is a tax question, maybe this isn't even part of what you offer, but I mean, what would you say is the best way to segregate the two finances to make it easy for lending?
Yeah, so I mean, you have to go in there and like pre-plan what you're gonna do, and have a plan. So, I do a lot of from home. So I say, okay, for example, my electric bill a month is, $200. Well, I take up X amount of space, so I'm gonna take that number and minus it out of the electric, right? And so that's gonna be what I'll use from the business. And you can pay yourself from that business or pay it from the business. Um, you know what I mean? It's the issue is more when it comes to like using your personal credit cards to pay for um your business, or using your personal bank account to pay for business. That's the issues more than anything.
So I know you said I'm going to back up a little bit because we said EIN number. And I know from just my own experience, you take your EIN number, you go into the bank, you show them your business license that you filed, you show them your EIN number, you can open up a completely separate account with that. And then that's the only card and bank account that you would use. Even if your name's on it, it doesn't matter. You
Yeah,
just have to make sure those two stay separate because when you're pulling all that information for your business, at least it's all itemized under one account. So it's pretty simple to go in
yeah,
and do that. So now with the
yeah.
funding, and I know you said you work with a lot of different lenders. So if someone's to come to you and they say, okay, here you go, Jerrod, I got this business, I just started it. Kind of give an insight of what you do and how you can help other people get their funding.
Yeah, I really quickly just want to back up with the banks, and starting a bank, and say really pay attention, to what their um, fees are for business banks, because I mean, some of what they do and what they charge, if you don't put enough money in there, it's sometimes ridiculous, to be honest. I don't understand how they can charge what they charge. So just keep that in mind, please. Is look up that bank fee and see what they charge, because they some of these banks are horrible to businesses. Um, so
I'm so glad you
I'm gonna
brought that up
say,
because you're right. I just changed banks because I'm like, why am I paying this? This doesn't even make any sense when I can get free
yeah,
so many other places. So yes, please do your homework. From
yes,
experience, I know.
absolutely, yeah, absolutely. And the same thing. It's again, it's horrible the way they do that. To back up, so to help somebody with lending, it's again finding out what kind of business they do, what are they going to use that money for, what's kind of the plan, trying to talk them through. Okay, are you going to use it for hiring, are you going to use it to put it in the sales department, are you going to use it for marketing, so because then that kind of goes, okay, do you need a line of credit? I had an individual who was like, um, I I am having to pay my employees out of my own pocket, but because the contracts are not hitting them, the bank until later, and so I'm having to fork over the money to my employees first, and so that's stressing me out. What can we do? And so it was like, oh, what we can do is a line of credit, because if he's going to pay it right off. And then he's going to use it again. He's going to constantly use it. So that makes sense for a line of credit. I wouldn't recommend a term loan for it. It doesn't make sense. And so where somebody says I need $10,000 because I want to start this marketing initiative. Okay, well that guy sounds like you might need a term loan. And so that's where it's just really understanding what they do, and then again figuring out the industry, because some of these lenders, I don't know why they are very picky on what they can and can't do. But yeah.
I think for some of the things that I've always wondered, because you're starting out as new business, obviously you got to have income coming in. So when these lenders look at you, are they looking at your projected income, or are they looking at your income that you've already have, or what you have in your bank account? Because sometimes they'll look at you and they're like, well, you don't have enough to back this. So what do they take into consideration when they're looking at your paperwork as a lender?
Well, that's a great question. Business credit and or business lending is really unique because it kind of encompasses the whole picture. Revenue is obviously important, but do you have a business plan talking about what you're projecting, or what's the plan for this business? Are you operating it with the correct, email? Are you using your URL email instead of a Gmail? It sounds kind of stupid, but banks look at that and say, okay, is he really that serious? I mean, because getting an email is only $10 a month, or $10 a year. Um, and you don't even want to fork over that for an email. And so they start wondering, okay, is this guy legit? And so they look at everything, and so that's why it's not just about revenue. It's not just about your credit. It's a lot of different things. And so that's why it's important. And that's kind of the other thing or that's the focus, is building business credit and making yourself bankable.
Well, it sounds like you take everything and you take the details. So you look, you start from, like I said, from square one, and you look at, because who would have thought about that? I mean, that is just so simple. But if that's something that the banks are looking at or your lenders are looking at, I mean, that really does make sense. It's like, how simple is that? But some people might not think of that, because they may say, well, I'll just use my Gmail right now because nobody's going to see my email. But now you look at a lender who's going, well, wait a minute, why is it not at whatever your business name is,
Mhm.
compared to your personal, Gmail account? So these little details seem like they're extremely important when it comes to lending.
Absolutely. And yeah, and that it's a unique thing, and not every business is created equal. That's why it's not really a cookie cutter thing. And that's why it's, when people ask, well, who can you help? It's like, well, I can help everybody, because I need to really understand that business, and then I got to find that right lender. And, sometimes it benefits me and sometimes it doesn't. But at the end of the day, my goal is to make the business dreams come true. Whatever they're looking for, that's my goal, and I may have to make that sacrifice, but that's okay. I'd much rather see them succeed than fail.
Oh, I appreciate that, because I'm sure every other owner appreciates that too. And you have an incredible company, and for what you do, and I see your passion, and you're genuine about going out and helping people. We got a few more minutes, so I'd like to offer. What would you like to offer and say to our listeners, our community? And please, everybody, the links will be down into the YouTube channel, but it'll also be embedded into the podcast. Please, please, please reach out to Jerrod, because I know he can help you. I wish I had found him when I had started my companies, because he would have made my life a lot easier with all of these questions to start, and how and where, and what to do, and to find you that funding. But I'm going to let you wrap it up here, Jerrod. What is something that you would like to tell everybody? And please give your website and your information, how people can reach you.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to start with a freebie. We talked about Dun& Bradstreet. The All you have to do is go to their website, which is www.dnb.com. And then you can just walk through their page and get your DUNS number, which is what it's called. And so that's kind of my freebie. It's free to do it. Anybody can do their number, but don't waste any time. Go get it done. It does take a few days. I think it's been a while since I messed with them, obviously, but it takes a couple days for them to get back to you with your DUNS number. But again, completely free. Go get it done. Don't waste any more time getting that done. And then as far as to get a hold of me, you can reach me at my email at admin at lonestarvalor.com or lonestarvalorfunding.com. Sorry. And then my website is www.lonestarvalorfunding.com. And please don't feel free to, or don't hesitate to reach out with any questions you have. I'm very happy to answer questions that you have. If you need help going through Dun& Bradstreet, I'm more than happy to go through that.
Well, I want to thank you so much, and I know that this is something that everybody can use. And I'm just going to reiterate. So you want to go to www.lonestarvalorfunding.com if you guys are listening, and then also if you want to reach out to Jerrod, it's admin at LoneStar valorfunding.com. So, and again, those links will be down into the podcast and the YouTube. Thank you so much, Jared, for being
No,
with us.
thank you.
I am really excited. I know I've got quite a few people I want to send to you. I'd like to talk to you at some point off air, with some of the things that's going on with us and what's happening. But I want to thank you so much for being here today, being part of the Keep on Sharing community.
Absolutely. My pleasure. And sorry, I'm a little bit under the weather, so I apologize for not being as enthusiastic as I know normally am.
No, you were great, and I knew you were. And honestly, I'm going to tell everybody, I have respect for people because they know that getting on my podcast and doing this, sometimes our time is so limited and structured. And Jerrod was so kind to go, hey, Mick, I'm a little off today. I'm like, that's okay. We're just going to give you information anyway, and let's get out. And you know what? I love it because that tells me you're passionate and you keep striving through no matter what's going on and how your day's going. And that tells me how sincere and honest and genuine you are about helping other people, and it's very unselfish on your part. So thank you again for being with us, and I will look forward to seeing you again. And thank you again. Please reach out to Jerrod, please, 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 because I know he can help you with your business.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right, you guys, thank you again. I will look forward to seeing you in our next podcast. Again, I'm Coach Mikki. Guys know the most courageous thing you can do is be yourself. If you're not part of our Keep on Sharing community, please go on. It's free. You can make a free profile. You can list your businesses, your services, and your events for free. And, hey, get showcased here on our podcast so we can help support you. All right, until then, see ya.